in life, there are only winners and losers. There are no participation trophies. There's no, stickers and everyone's invited to have a good time. Life is hard. And everyone in life is actually trying to play the same game. If you're a sportsman, you like racquetball, I've heard, for example.
Yeah.
There's a small pool of people who play racquetball, and you have to compete within that pool to be the best, and maybe you become the world champion. There's a small pool of people who compete at kickboxing, professional soccer, and the bigger the pool is, the more difficult it is. Well, life is the only game where every single one of us 8.1 billion people is trying to play the exact same game. And the same game is, there's only so much money in the world, there's only so many resources, there's only so much happiness. I'm going to try to provide for my family as best as I can. And whether people say money's not important or is important, everyone's part of this game. So winning is very difficult. I did 6 months in the McDonald's drive-thru. I worked 3 years in a pret-a-manger store in Luton Airport making sandwiches. And it's those jobs, the real selling your time for money hour by hour, that teaches you the value of things. Even now, I jokingly laugh with Andrew when I buy things. I don't know what the numbers are, but I'll calculate like how many hours would I have had to work in that job to buy, say, the Bugatti. And it's something crazy like 310 years of constantly working at that sandwich shop. No hours off, no days off. So yeah, so we're talking at like 4 human lifetimes. I've always given people a hard time who claim they don't have time to be in shape. If they're big and fat and they're like, oh, I don't have time to go to the gym. First of all, everyone has time enough to eat less, because it actually requires less time. So that's a cop-out as it is. But a line that my coach used to say when I was training at Storm Gym, and people say, oh, I don't have dumbbells at home, I don't have a punch bag at home. He always used to say, if you're determined enough, you could get in the best shape that you could possibly get in an empty room by yourself. And when I was in jail, that came back to me in my mind. I was just like, well, I can get in amazing shape in an empty room by myself. How determined are you? It's not fun down on that dirty floor doing those push-ups with roaches crawling by your face as you're going down and up. It's not fun, doing sit-ups with a towel on your back on a concrete floor instead of a mat. It isn't fun sitting there doing squats, looking at the TV, sweating and then having to take one of those horrible showers. But you have to do what you have to do. Almost every single stat you have in life, you never stagnate. You're always deteriorating. You never get fit enough and think, okay, that's it. And if you stop training, you stay the same. If you're not growing, you're shrinking. Everything is always deteriorating. Forget things day to day if you don't top your knowledge up. It all deteriorates if you don't work on it. So you have to keep that in mind, because any kind of complacency, any kind of laziness, it's going to come back and bite you. Imagine you're on a sailing boat. There's 10 of you. 10 of you are on a sailing boat, miles and miles from any land, from the shore. And the boat springs a leak. The boat starts to sink. It does sink. And there's 10 of you in the water, right? You swim and you swim and you swim. Every single one of you thinks, this boat sank. This sucks. I do anything for that boat to be back, for that boat not to have sank. And you, and maybe one other dude out of the 10 reaches the shore. You get onto that sand, you lay your back on that beach, you look up at the sky and you think, thank I'm saved. After just a day or a week or 2 weeks, when you're finally back in civilization, you will be so happy that boat sank. Focusing on the event, paddling in that water, in the ocean, no matter how long you stay there, dreaming that the boat comes back, is always the wrong way to live. When you've been through the hardship, you have to persevere through it and get through the other end. And that's what separates the wheat from the chaff. That's what separates the milk from the cream. So you can, like my brother said, go through hardship, let it break you, let it destroy you, let yourself fall in some mediocre life that you don't like and you don't love, and you lose your passion and you lose your fire. And that's fine, because that's what's going to happen to most people who go through hard experiences. But you don't want to be that person. You want to be the small percentage, because not everyone listening is going to go through hard shit and make it through. Yeah. You want to be that small percentage that does make it through, that goes through the hardship and laughs about it, smiles about it. Many people now watching this, the 30,000 watching live and the millions who will watch this, I'm sure, in the coming days and weeks and months, will be like, oh no, but with me, well, right now I'm going through this. Good. There's tens of thousands of you who will hear this message, and maybe 300-400 are going to make it to the point where they're like, ha ha ha, that was so good, that was so hilarious, I'm now killing it. We've run many businesses that did well for a little bit, then failed. We've tried to launch projects using the last of our money. We tried to bring various drinks we like from Eastern Europe to sell in UK supermarkets, set up meetings, invested all of our last money in this project. Everyone told us no, failed. We had this idea once to set up a system where people could run, remember those competitions, or win a vacation, text this to this number. We tried to middleman that and allow other people to run text competitions on a premium rate phone line that we set up. And we set it up and tried to market it, lost all of our money. Once again, we were broke eating ramen noodles. So we've tried everything. I mean, we've done all sorts of failed and successful businesses over the years. And I think it was just persistence that got us there. A lot of people are going to get, kicked in the nuts and take a fall, and they're going to let it beat them down. Andrew's lost very important kickboxing matches. Did he quit fighting then? Did I quit fighting when I got my ass kicked a couple times? No, you don't.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
That no one is ever going to give a shit about you, even 1% as much as you have to give a shit about yourself. No one cares. No one cares about you if you're a man, ever. Everything is conditional. You don't get loved unconditionally. And that's a beautiful thing, because that makes you strive to create your own value as a man. And the problem that men have is we all go from a time when everyone cares about us to a time no one does. Women don't lose it until they're maybe, and they'll be like, oh, what the fuck's going on? Now she understands what it's like to become a 15, 16, 17-year-old man. Because we've gone through the stage. I remember my aunts and uncles, hey, little Tristan, I remember, they all cared about me back then. Then you get to 16, 17, 18, you're out in the cold world and you're like, no one gives a do they? I can't pay my bills. I have no food. Nobody cares. Yeah, your mother and your father will care a little bit, but you have to care about them. So I'd say the duty of protection is the other way around once you become an adult. And you have to care about yourself. So the best advice I can give to anyone, especially the young men who are 13, 14, 15, who, are sitting in their room playing video games and their mother's still bringing them sandwiches, if she continues to care about you that much and you lean on it, you're going to be a nobody. And if she says, okay, you're 18 now, get out of my house, you're going to be a nobody until you make something of yourself. So the best advice every young man needs to hear is nobody gives a shit about you at all until you make them give a shit.
No matter where you were born and no matter what your circumstances are, if you wish to become a force for good in the world, you can become a force for good in the world. And everything that my brother preaches, from believing in God, hard work, discipline, stoicism, we certainly practice it as well. And this wouldn't have come, and we would not be the men that we are today if we had not made all of the mistakes we had made. We've run many businesses that have failed. I've made many mistakes in relationships, many mistakes in friendships. I wouldn't be as complete as I am, and I wouldn't understand the world as well as I do if I had never lived my past.